the sick person. Maybe the awrah might show depends on the procedure they're doing, Allahu Alam. We're just talking in general. So covering the awrah is or should be our main concern in the beginning. A sick or disabled person should not expose himself to visitors, doctors, nurses, and other healthcare individuals unless it is really needed. Covering the awrah is an obligation on every Muslim. Jabir radiyallahu anhu reported that Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna nuhina an tura awratuna." We have surely been prohibited to expose our awrah. Another hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, or someone asked him, when are we required to cover our awrah and when we are permitted to uncover it? He said, alayhi salatu wassalam, احفظ عورتك إلا من زوجتك أو ما ملكت يمينك. Guard your awrah except from your wife or your female slaves. Now, what is the awrah of the men and what is the awrah of the women? In the presence of men or women, the awrah of the man is from his navel to his knee. Okay? From the navel to the knee. This is the awrah of the man amongst men and amongst if he's in front of women. Of course, he should, if there's no need to uncover the top, then he should be covered. But the awrah for salat this is the awrah for the salat. Now, in the presence of non-Muslim women, and non-mahram men, a woman's awrah includes all her body except her face and her hands. In front of non-Muslim women and in front of non-mahram men, the woman's awrah is all her body except her face and her hands. Is that clear? Because a lot of people think that in front of non-Muslim women we can uncover our awrah. In the presence of mahram and other Muslim women, a woman's awrah includes all her body except her face, arms, head, neck, and the upper part of her chest. Everything else must be covered. So in front of her father, in front of her brother, or in front of other Muslim women, the body should be covered, but she is allowed to show the face, the head, the hair, the neck, and from here up is allowed. So this is allowed. Who are the more conservative, the best. And by the way, a lot of people, ya akhwan, when you go to a wedding, like I always repeat and I always highly recommend, to have a proper Islamic wedding, you should have the women by themselves and the men by themselves. This way the women can have their own, fun, and we can have our own fun. But even though the women are alone, you should make a huge sign at the door, no cameras allowed. Even though that the women are alone, still you have to make sure that there's no cameras. Nobody taking pictures or videos amongst the women between themselves. Why? Because you never know who's going to look at that phone. Maybe the woman, between her and her husband, there's no password, there's nothing. And one time he was playing with her phone or checking a number, and he saw a video of your wives or my wife in a wedding, not dressed the way it's supposed to be in front of him, which is not right, ya akhwan. Okay? So even though it's amongst women, make sure that no phones allowed, no pictures allowed. If the women's are, all of them are, they took their hijab and they're dressed because they are all females amongst each other. During the prayer, a woman's awrah is the same as it is with non-mahram, which is everything except the hands and the face. Some sick and disabled individuals with severe burns or skin diseases in areas of their body cannot cover the parts of the awrah. Such individuals may perform the salat without having to cover the afflicted part of their awrah. If we are just discussing all kinds of situations. If there's a situation that the person was burned, for example, the woman is burned in her arm, and the arm is a awrah in the salat, right, for the woman, right? So if the doctor told her that covering the arm because of the burn will cause more harm, she can, in that situation, she can uncover the arm. Okay? Subhanallah, ittaqullah mastata'tum. Fear Allah as much as you can. And everyone knows what he can handle and what is permitted and what's not permitted and what is dangerous for him, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like we mentioned last time, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرِ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرِ. Allah wants ease for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not ask us to pray in this situation to cause harm to us. Allah wants ease, always ease, subhanallah. So if there was a situation that you can cover without any harm, bismillah. But if you find any harm or any danger, then it's okay. Even though you are in the hospital, you have to do your best to face the Qibla. You have to do your best to face the Qibla. If in any situation facing the Qibla is something hard, then bismillah, go ahead and pray. But you have to do your best to ask where's the Qibla and try. If you cannot yourself do it, either they move the bed for you or somebody could come and move you when the time of Salat comes to face the Qibla and pray. Facing the Qibla, as we all know, is one of the shurut, one of the conditions of the Salat. Prayer time. Each Salat has to be prayed on its time. Except, again, ya akhwan, if there is a situation that the person is extremely sick, and for example, he wakes up only for an hour and then he sleeps for 5-6 hours, or there is an exception that he is suffering from a very tough disease or whatever, then in that situation, he is allowed to combine Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha. Subhanallah. Wallahi ya akhwan, this is from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. This is from the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not overburden you. You can pray every Salat on time. You become just like any one of us who is healthy. Some kind of situation, your case is severe, bismillah. You can combine Dhuhr and Asr together, and Maghrib and Isha together. But Fajr has to be always on time. Now, if someone slept, because a lot of the people who are sick, they sleep for a long time, and they missed the Salat, Rasulullah ﷺ said, when you wake up, you pray it. رُفِعَ الْقَلَمْ عَنْ ثَلَاث. The accountability, a person is not accountable if he is one of three. One of them is if he slept, and then when he wake up, he will pray that Salat. Now, sometimes if a person was in a coma for a month and he woke up, is he required to repeat all the Salat of a month? No, he's not. When we say sleeping is, he slept from one Salat to the other. This is the sleeping we're talking about. But if somebody went in a coma in a month, sometimes a year, you hear people in a coma for 2 years. So what, he's going to get up and make up the Salawat for 2 years? No. He will be considered like the person who is crazy, insane. Insane person is not accountable for his Salat. The ulama said they made qiyas, because he's not conscious. So the majnoon is also not conscious. We're not saying that the person sleeping is majnoon, but he is the same situation, because he does not know what he's doing. So he's sleeping for a very long time, so he does not have to make up the Salat. Now, we all know that, or the weight of the Salat in our deen. The weight in the salat of the salat in our deen is extremely, extremely heavy. Ya Ikhwan, I got a call yesterday from a sister. Someone proposed to her. He is an amazing guy, great job, very kind man, nice guy. He will take care of me, respect me, honor me. But ya Sheikh, ايش؟ بيقطش. He prays a little bit and he skips a little bit. He's not taking the salat very seriously. What do you think, ya Sheikh? Wallahi, my sister, first of all, someone with all these great characteristics, you should work on him. Tell him the importance of the salat and, subhanallah. For his own sake, whether you want to marry him or not, you got to talk to him and tell him the first thing that we will be questioned about is the salat. Man taraka as-salata faqad kafar. The salat is everything. We can't. But yes, sister, my advice to you, you have to be very careful. If this person is not taking the salat seriously, wallahi, he will never take you seriously. If he's neglecting the rights of Allah, he will definitely neglect your rights sooner or later. So my advice to you, if it was my daughter, I will never give her to someone who does not pray. Never, ever. And ya Akhwan, your first question to the people who is proposing for your daughter, for your sister, the first question is about the salat. Not how much do you make, habibi. It's a salat. Not where is your apartment, where is your house. The salat. The first question is the salat. I told you, one imam of a masjid, a guy came to ask for his daughter's in marriage. He told him one question. That's it. Because he knows he's a good akhlaq and everything. If you answer it, you got my daughter. Look, go ahead. The guy is probably shaking, What time is Fajr? What is the iqamah of Fajr in your masjid where you come from? The guy started, no way. Any of you, especially most of my brothers here are from the Fajr people. If I ask you immediately, you say 6:30, right? If you know, you know. Either you know or you don't know. Unless the time changed, Uncle Shamim came up with a new law, the new time. But if you are a person of Fajr, there's no way you do not know. So the guy started stuttering. Assalamu alaikum. So make sure if you go to propose for someone, make sure you know the time of Fajr in your local masjid. In your local masjid. So Rasulullah said, "Al-ahd alladhi baynana wa baynahum as-salat. Faman tarakaha faqad kafar." Allahu Akbar. The covenant between us and them is prayer. He who abandons it, he is truly disbelieved. Now, some people, if they are in the hospital, for example, for maybe 5-6 days, just to getting checkup, and they're still healthy. They're just, sometimes it takes a few days to make sure everything is okay. You can also do your best to pray also the Sunnah. Pray the Sunnah if you can. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sometimes you're suffering. The main thing is to make your fard. Make sure your fard is done. If you are still able, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, your situation is good, go ahead, inshaAllah ta'ala, and perform your Sunnah. Now, here is a very important point. Ya akhi, if you can pray standing, we discussed that before. You have to stand up. Now again, if the person who is sick, because sometimes you are sick, for example, because you broke your arm, you still can stand. Or because you have something in your neck, but you can stand. If you can, I repeat, please don't say that you have to stand. If you can stand, you cannot pray sitting down. If you can stand easily without any harm to your body, well, the doctor said it's okay. Bismillah, get up and stand. Qiyam is a rukun. If you cannot stand, go ahead and sit down. You cannot sit down, sit up, you can while you're laying down. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made it very easy for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, صَلِّ قَائِمًا فَإِن لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ فَقَائِدًا فَإِن لَمْ تَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَى جَنْبٍ. pray standing. If you cannot, pray sitting. If you cannot, pray on your side. And then he said, make sujood on the ground if you can. If you can, make sujood on the ground. Otherwise, make a motion by bending forward and make your sujood lower than your ruku'ah. This is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the hadith is in At-Tabarani. So you can stand up, sit down. You can sit down, do it on your side, because sometimes the sickness is so severe you can hardly move. Bismillah, alhamdulillah. Do whatever you can handle. Whatever you can handle. And then the Shaykh mentioned other acts of worship which does not interfere with the sickness, like, for example, giving in charity. As a matter of fact, Rasulullah said, Dawu mardakum bis sadaqah. One of the best way to cure yourself, to cure someone in your family that is sick, give sadaqah on their behalf. I love this story. I mentioned it a few times before, but subhanallah, a man, he was in London, and he went to the doctor to get just a general checkup. And when he was getting a general checkup, the doctor told him, you have 2 arteries that are clogged. Your situation is very, very rough. You have to go into an operation in a maximum 48 hours. قال له يا دكتور, I can't, I'm just coming for a vacation. Let me just go back to my country, and I'll be back immediately. At least because you're telling me that the operation is very dangerous, and the heart surgery and all this. I'm talking about a long time ago, before now it become easy. So he said, okay, you can go for 48 hours to your country and see your family, but make sure you take these pills and take them every single day. So the man went and he started going to his family, because they told him, we're talking about in the 80s. So he started saying goodbye to his family. Maybe I'm going to come back, maybe not. One of his friends that he visited, his best friend, he was sitting in his office to say goodbye to him and stuff before he leaves. And he looked across from the window of the office of the brother. He saw a woman at a butcher. Every time the butcher throw the bones, she runs and she picks them up and put them in a bag. So he left the office and went to the butcher. He saw the woman. He said, Ya Ummi. When you see an older woman, you call her my mother. This is very common in the Arab word. Say, Ya Ummi. He said, Ya Ummi, what's wrong? She said, Ya Ibni, oh my son, I've been, I have 7 girls and I'm raising myself. They have no father, and they have not tasted meat in 6 months. They have not tasted meat in 6 months. So what I do is I take these bones, and there's no meat on them, but the smell, when they boil, it will make a smell of meat. So it will keep them, thinking that they're eating meat. So the man was very, very touched. Very touched. And he was well off, alhamdulillah. He went to the butcher. He said, how much is a kilo of meat? He said, for example, let's say $10. He said, okay, this is a price. This is the cost of 1 year of meat, 1 kilo per week to this woman, and he paid it off for her. The woman saw that, subhanallah, 1 year supply of meat. She sat down on the ground. She raised her hands. Ya Rabb, Ya Rabb, give him what he deserves. Ya Allah, cure him from any disease. Ya Allah. She started making a lot of dua and crying and crying and crying. And this man was crying, subhanallah. The woman in need, widow, raising orphans, making dua for you. Allahu Akbar, this is the best gift. So he carried himself and went back to the doctor. He sat down in the operation. Where did you go? He said, I didn't go anywhere. I went back to my family. Do the test again. One more time. The arteries are clear. Do the test one more time, 3 times. Nothing. Ya Sheikh, where did you go? I went to the hospital of subhanahu wa ta'ala. One dua. from a needy person, because he gave sadaqah, that sadaqah cures. داووا مرضاكم بالصدقة. Wallahi ya akhwan, if you have your mother, your father, yourself, your wife, anyone in your family that is sick, you don't have to announce it to everybody. Go to a poor family. Go to anywhere that deserves sadaqah and give sadaqah between you and Allah. Ya Allah, this is on behalf of my sick mother. But, very important, to do it with excellent yaqeen. Yaqeen. What does that mean? That means do not try it. Do not try it. Allah cannot be tried. I'm doing it with yaqeen, with certainty. Rasulullah ﷺ said they will be cured. They will be cured. Might be delayed, but definitely they will be cured. This is the way. This is the only way it will work. Other than that, it will not work. Allah cannot be tried. Allah is not a president of a hospital or no. Allah said, kun fayakun. Okay? So giving charity does not, being sick should not affect your charity. As a matter of fact, should increase it. Fasting, we all know the ruling of fasting for the sick person. If you can fast, Bismillah. If the fasting affects your sickness, your health, then you can break your fast. You can break your fast and you make it up later. If your sickness is very long time, is what do you call it, chronicle, then you feed someone for every day that you missed. And then the Shaykh, that some of the things that we should do while we are in the hospital or when we are very sick, you should have a lot of great manners. A sick person should maintain good manners in dealing with his relatives, with his visitors, with the nurses, with the servants. Everybody should have great manners. Rasulullah ﷺ said, أَفْضَلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَحْسَنُهُمْ خُلُقًا. The best among the believers are those with the best of manners. We should allow visitors if you can. If there's no danger to the visitor, then you should allow visitors, so you will get the reward and they will also get the ajr. Inshallah ta'ala, next week we will talk about the prohibited actions of for the sick person. Prohibited actions. Now we said the recommended, and inshallah, if Allah kept us alive, we discuss all the prohibited ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all healthy, inshallah. May Allah cure all the sick Muslims all over the world, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on all our brothers and sisters that have passed away. May Allah increase us in iman. May Allah make our last words La ilaha illallah wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.